Video call with wife Anushka Sharma. We leave you with a lawyer tried to run over a woman traffic constable near Mumbai, and this is what ensued.
The constable had seized the scooter of an advocate for alleged violation of traffic rules. The scooter was kept in a godown meant for seized vehicles for further legal procedures. But the lawyer landed up at the godown to take away the two-wheeler. When the cop tried to stop the lawyer from exiting the building, he knocked her down with the scooter and tried to flee. He even tried to assault some men who came and confronted him. The lawyer was arrested based on the cop's complaint. The woman cop suffered injuries on her leg and hands from the fall.
Prime Minister Modi is on a two-day visit to his home state Gujarat. He led a grand 2.5-kilometer long roadshow in Surat and then went to Bhavnagar to launch a slew of development projects. Gujarat is going to polls later this year, and the ruling BJP is leaving no stone unturned to ensure that it retains power. Later in the evening, Prime Minister Modi went to Ahmedabad. He declared open the 36th edition of the National Games, the country's elite multi-sporting competition. He stood in an open-top motor vehicle adorned with the branding of the National Games and took a lap around the packed stadium that's named in his honor. Dozens of students were trapped after a fire broke out in a coaching center in Kanpur.
At least 25 students were trapped at the coaching institute on the first floor. The fire started on the ground floor of the commercial building, preventing the students from escaping. Even the fire department officials were not able to enter the building as a result. Eventually, the students were rescued from the windows. All the students managed to get out with only minor injuries. Police said that the building didn't have an operational emergency exit. The fire department is checking if the complex was ever issued a fire clearance certificate.
From the 1st of October, Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport will become India's first 5G-enabled airport. What does this mean? Passengers flying in or out of Delhi can experience 5G services. 5G services will be provided at the domestic departure pier. In fact, 5G services will also be there at the international arrival terminal, the baggage area in T3. Travelers will be able to enjoy 20 times faster data speed. Passengers will require a 5G-enabled phone and a 5G-enabled SIM card. Akash Ambani, the head of India's largest telecom firm, Jio, has been named in Time magazine's 100 list of rising stars. The magazine has called Ambani the scion of the Indian industrialist royalty, who was always meant to rise in the business. He is the only Indian on the list. 2 blasts were reported in Jammu and Kashmir's Udhampur today, and this comes just a week before the Home Minister is on a multi-day visit to Jammu.
The first blast was in an empty bus parked near a petrol pump. Locals claim the bus used to be parked at the spot daily. After 6 to 7 hours, another blast went off in a bus parked at a stand. The roof and the back of the bus were blown away by the blast. 2 people were injured in one of these blasts.
So the race for Congress's top position is heating up once again. There is up and down that this journey is taking Congress through. After Gehlot, now Digvijay Singh has also dropped out. He's just told the press that he's going to be a proposer for Mallikarjun Kharge. Mukul Vasnik, the other name around which there was a lot of speculation, even he has turned a proposer for Mallikarjun Kharge. So in the race now, the top 2 names seems to be Shashi Throor and Mallikarjun Kharge. Digvijay Singh a short while back spoke to the press and said that had he known that Kharge was going to file his papers, he would have never thought of it in the first place, because he would not, file his candidature against a man he respects so much. So that was the ground that Digvijay Singh gave. Mukul Wasnik also said that, he's going to propose Mr. Kharge's name. Pramod Tiwari has also said that. We are waiting to get more details from ground zero. But Pallavi Ghosh is there at AICC headquarters. Pallavi, this is very clear now that the entire top brass of the Congress party is throwing its weight behind Mallikarjun Kharge. Shashi Throor, you were saying, is not even a G23 candidate. So how are you now seeing this fight shaping up?
Yeah, and again, I'm going to put all my eyes open on 8th of October, because that's the day of the withdrawal of the nomination. So will Shashi Throor really buckle under pressure and also come into this whole narrative about there should be a consensus candidate and he withdraws from the race? As of now, the time for him to turn up over here is 12:15, and as of now, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge is expected to come to the AICC headquarters at 12:30. The proposers, endorsers have already started pouring in. Mukul Wasnik was certainly one of them who has endorsed his, and he's already over here. We had Avinash Pandey, who's in charge of Rajasthan. He also is very much over here. Ashok Gehlot is also very much around the national capital. So, is this going to be a show of strength? Certainly looks like it, Arunima, that the Congress party wants to make it out like a show of strength. Getting you those pictures still from the AICC headquarters of slowly party cadres, workers going in. 20 years later, the Congress party is having an election for the top post. So certainly for them, it emerges as a big event. And also to show that they're being neutral. But unfortunately, Arunima, the take which goes away from all of the crises which broke out in Rajasthan and also over here is that these elections, during these elections, the Gandhis have not really been neutral, certainly not Sonia Gandhi. Given their first choice was Ashok Gehlot, and when we saw what happened in Rajasthan, it became a question of trust deficit. We reported this also yesterday. The message which was conveyed to Ashok Gehlot yesterday was very simple, that he should not file his nomination papers for the Congress presidential post. Very clear that, there's a legacy, there's a history, there's an apprehension which explains this, there's a legacy which explains this apprehension that whoever becomes a Congress president should not become bigger than the party or should not even actually become bigger than the Gandhis. I think Mallikarjun Kharge, according to their calculation, ticks all the right boxes, and that's the reason why he seems to be the chosen one.
Right. Mara Shakil is also with us, our political editor. Mara, like we have been telling the viewers, you brought the news first for us that Digvijay Singh was also throwing his hat into the ring. But now that he's opted out, he's tried to take that high moral ground by saying, I can't contest against Mr. Kharge. I have too much respect for him. But do you think somewhere this factor of the Bharatiya Janata Party always accusing him of appeasement, of being biased towards the community, that could also have played a role?
Not really, Arunima. I won't say that. I think what has worked here is that Mr. Digvijay Singh, he had informed the Gandhis that he is contesting, and just as Mr. Shashi Throor had done, but there was no official candidate or someone who had the endorsement of the Gandhis. With Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge emerging as that candidate who has the support of the Gandhis, it was only a matter of time that Digvijay Singh would have opted out. And now it is clear that Digvijay Singh, who was seen at the Congress headquarters only yesterday, saying that he will contest, has now decided to opt out, and in fact he could be one of the proposers. I think what will be interesting to watch out in the next 20 minutes would be who are the proposers for Shashi Throor. In all, 10 proposers are needed for filing nomination papers. Shashi Throor arrives at the Congress headquarters, that is the AICC, in another 15 minutes from now, and who all will turn up for him for proposing his name will be interesting. Stage is set for this battle, Arunima, which is now going to play out between 80-year-old Mallikarjun Kharge, who doesn't really have mass appeal. His, reach out, the scope of his political play field is very, very limited. It's largely in the state of Karnataka. And here he is contesting for presidential elections of the Congress as someone who is clearly the nominee of the Gandhi family. So rest assured that over the next few weeks, when he starts campaigning, and he will get support of most of the state units, because most of the state units were only waiting to get a clear picture from the Gandhis as to who is the face as far as the Gandhis are concerned, who is their nominee in this election.
Right. Mara Shakil, Pallavi Ghosh, Yash, Nikhil, my colleagues are keeping an eye on the ground there, getting us all the details about how this race for the position of Congress Party President is shaping up. That's all that I have time for. Anusha Soni is here in the studio. Welcome, Anusha. After a long time, at least this election has ensured halchal at AICC headquarters. Congress is back in the news for the right reasons.
A lot of halchal there, Arunima, and you can catch all the action here on CNN News 18. This continues to remain our top focus. Once again, a very warm welcome at the top of noon. That's our focus right now. Let's begin with some breaking news coming in. Mr. Ashok Gehlot has reached Mallikarjun Kharge's residence. As we were talking earlier, there's a lot of halchal, there's a lot of political happenings which are happening within the Congress party right now. Ashok Gehlot, who was once at one point seen as frontrunner, he dropped out of the race. There are hectic negotiations. Clearly, the Congress party is on a cusp of a very important and critical change. What kind of change this would be? Who would be the phase, the non-Gandhi phase, which is going to lead the Congress party? That's one thing which is abundantly clear, that it's not going to be anybody from the Gandhi family. The visuals on your screen right now, Mr. Ashok Gehlot, who's reached the residence of Mallikarjun Kharge. Mr. Kharge, who's a tall leader of the Congress party, who's also represented party at some key important positions and enjoys the trust and faith of the first family of the Congress party. Is he the choice? Yash, my colleague, is tracking all the developments. Yash, tell us what is happening there on the ground.
Well, Anusha, you rightly mentioned that Congress's first choice for this very post, Ashok Gehlot, and Congress's latest choice, which is emerging, Mallikarjun Kharge. Both leaders are meeting at Mallikarjun Kharge's residence right now, and we are also given to understand, and we know that Tariq Anwar is also inside residence of Mallikarjun Kharge. And what is playing out, that now we for sure know that Digvijay Singh has opted out from this race, and now he will be one of the proposers for Mallikarjun Kharge, what he has said on record on camera. And right now, since morning, the slew of meetings which are happening at this very residence of Mallikarjun Kharge. In the morning, Digvijay Singh was the first one to reach Mallikarjun Kharge's residence, and then Pramod Tiwari also reached there with PL Punia, and these two leaders actually dropped a hint that Mallikarjun Kharge will be the one who will be also filing nomination for today's for these very election at AICC headquarters. And time which we are understanding is that Mallikarjun Kharge could leave from this very residence at around 12 to 12:30 p.m. Things are getting, the turns and bounds are keep running in this entire story. Yesterday we saw how Ashok Gehlot backed out of this race of Congress presidency, and now Digvijay Singh opting out of this very race. Now the race is between the two prime candidates are Mr. Shashi Throor and Mallikarjun Kharge, both tall leaders of the Congress party. One of them is the MP, other is also an MP, and also the leader of opposition of Rajya Sabha. What we are also being told is that the other leader which is there in the fray for this very election is the minister from Jharkhand, KN Tripathi. We spoke to him earlier. He also sounded to be one of those people who are supporting the Gandhis. But if we talk about if we talk about the length of these leaders, the tallest among them is Mallikarjun Kharge, who's definitely one of the tallest leader in the Congress party right now, and who's also considered as closest to all three Gandhis.
Absolutely, back to you, Anusha. We'll keep coming back to you. A slew of meetings, a lot of political halchal which is happening within the grand old party right now. All characteristic of the fact that the party is all set for a big change. In what direction, how good it would be for the party, only time would tell. But before that, Pallavi Ghosh is with us also on the broadcast. She's going to tell us what to expect in the next few hours. Pallavi, how critical are these meetings which are happening right before some critical processes of the election process within the Congress party? Ashok Gehlot meeting Mallikarjun Kharge. He's one of the most important contenders. And as Yash was also pointing out, someone who's very close to the Gandhi family.
It's interesting tidbit also. He's going to be the first South Indian or the first leader from the South after P.V. Narasimha Rao to become the Congress president. If you look at the strategy of the Congress party, their sense and their calculation is that Northern India is something which is slipping out of their hands, and they still have a long road to cross. South India, with Mallikarjun Kharge as a Congress president, is a bastion which they hope they can conquer. But I think beyond all these kind of political calculations, the main consideration has been the loyalty factor. Ashok Gehlot's example for the Gandhis, it was an example of how a trust can be defied. Ashok Gehlot, of course, made the right noises. He kept on saying that, I believe in the party discipline, so on and so forth. But there was a sense of a trust deficit. The bitterness, or I would say the strain in the equations between Gehlot and Sonia Gandhi was very, very evident when she conveyed this message to him that I don't think you should file your nomination papers for the Congress president. Therefore, in that sense, Kharge became the natural choice. And as you pointed out, a loyalist, someone who's close both to Sonia Gandhi as well as to the Gandhi siblings, the stature in terms of being the leader of the party in Rajya Sabha, someone who can also speak Hindi. That also becomes a very important factor if you're going to become the president of a national party.
Pallavi, I want you to stay with us on the broadcast. There's some more breaking news which is coming in. Let's go to that. And this is race for the Congress top job. Senior leaders, the senior leader Mallikarjun Kharge, as we were talking about, is all set to file his nomination papers shortly. Kharge is the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha right now. Nominations for the post of the Congress president closes at 3 p.m. today, and the results will be declared on the 19th of October. Senior Congress leaders like Digvijay Singh and Mukul Vasnik have proposed Kharge's name. That's the bit coming in. Pallavi continues to be with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, as we were earlier talking, Mr. Kharge seems to have the backing of most of the tall leaders within the Congress party.
Well, in politics, people go where the wind is blowing, and the wind is clearly blowing in favor of Mallikarjun Kharge. It's very clear that the leaders, at least the coterie or the so-called Gandhi family loyalists, are always going to put forward that picture that this is the chosen one. The procedure is very simple. 9,000 delegates across the country are the ones who are going to cast their vote for the presidential elections. A message needs to be carried across. Having taken a public stand that these are neutral elections and just about anybody is allowed to contest the elections, you cannot say these things openly. But if you look at the picture inside the AICC headquarters over here, I think the messaging to the 9,000 odd delegates is very clear, especially when you see one senior leader after another, even Congress loyalists, Gandhi family loyalists like Mukul Vasnik endorsing the nomination of Mallikarjun Kharge. I think the messaging to the 9,000 delegates is very, very clear that here's our man, here's the person you need to vote for. Which brings us to the other question. How many votes can Shashi Throor get? I mean, we saw when he decided that he's going to contest the elections, there was a resistance which came in from his home state. The Kerala unit of Congress said that we are not going to be supporting him, though he has been claiming that 70% of the delegates are in his favor. Again, those 10 delegates who are going to be endorsing his nomination, he's picked up 5 of those nomination forms. So I think that's going to be a game between Tharoor and Kharge as of now. We'll also have to wait to see if Tharoor at some point of time withdraws his nomination.
Interesting, Pallavi. We'll keep coming back to you. Please stay with us on the broadcast. Some more breaking news coming in. And this is once again about the Congress presidential polls. Shashi Throor is all set to file his nomination papers for the top job within the Congress party. As Pallavi said, that when Mr. Tharoor said that he wanted to contest, there was resistance that came from his own state unit, the Kerala state unit. However, he wants to go ahead and do that. My colleague Arun Dhanta is with us on the broadcast. Arun, Mr. Tharoor all set to file his nomination papers.
Well, that's right. That's right. We are at Shashi Tharoor's residence at this moment, and in fact, here at his residence, there are certain preparations which he has done. Of course, we are told that he will be addressing a press conference. You can see the arrangement for the media personnel as well, and also you can see a signboard on that side which says that think tomorrow, think Tharoor. So Shashi Throor is also not really lagging behind or backing behind. He is very much in the contention. He's at the home at this moment, and in any moment from now, we are told he will be leaving from his residence to the Congress headquarters to file his nomination. In fact, some of his supporters have already gathered here, who will be accompanying Shashi Throor to the Congress headquarters. So now it seems that it is going to be between Shashi Shashi Throor and Mallikarjun Kharge. In fact, yesterday when Digvijay Singh was in contention, we had seen both of them meeting, Shashi Throor and Digvijay Singh. Shashi Throor in fact tweeted a photograph in which he said it is going to be a friendly fight between two colleagues. So this is how Congress party is taking this fight forward, and in fact remember, this is going to be a first time contest if it happens in 2 decades in the Congress party for the presidential post. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Shashi Throor is very much at his residence where we are at this moment, and in a short while from now we are told he is going to leave his residence. So it is going to be very, very interesting when Shashi Throor files his nomination, and then of course he'll be going to contest against Mallikarjun Kharge. That's the information which we have, but still you have time to take your nominations back. That date also going to be very, very interesting, very, very crucial as well, because 8th of the October is going to be the last date of taking back the nomination. So the preparations, the supporters and everything is here at Shashi Throor's residence. All of them are waiting for Shashi to leave.
I'm cutting across to Pallavi as well to get more perspective on that story. Pallavi, Shashi Throor indeed, you know, a loyal Congress worker, somebody who has his own brand in politics, comes with international experience. That being said, on various occasions he has toed a critical line when it comes to his own party. He has not shied away from expressing his dissent from the Congress leadership on various occasions. Is this really going to be a friendly fight between Kharge versus Shashi Throor, if that were to happen?
Well, it seems like now, I mean, Tharoor files his nomination papers and Kharge files his nomination papers. Of course, it seems like a Tharoor versus Kharge fight. But I would still wait and say picture abhi baki hai, because 8 October is again the date of withdrawal. You know, why many would ask this question, that why does Tharoor want to fight a losing fight? Well, the answer is very, very simple. The answer is that he also wants to make the point that he's not shying away, he's not scared of a fight. The second important thing, of course, is that as of now, he doesn't have too many supporters or takers in Kerala, and he has been claiming that there are supporters for him from across other states as well. Will it turn out to be a poor defeat for him? But you know, in politics, a loss is something which should not ideally be seen as a bad thing. You know, I mean, history is checkered with many examples where people lose and they bounce back. I think that's also could be one possible point which Shashi Throor wants to maintain. Early days yet, I would still wait for the 8th to see whether Shashi Throor indeed withdraws from the fight, or he wants to fight it and also make a point that, you know, I did contest, and because I believe in democracy. Also, very quickly, let's not forget, he was one of the first ones who had made a strong pitch that electoral rolls must be made public. He had written that letter to Madhusudan Mystery. We need to know who the electors will be, and they had conceded to his pressure, and a result of that was that electoral rolls were made public.
All right, Pallavi, as you get us all those details and a deep dive into the contemporary history, clearly for now, it looks like a friendly contest. Let's see how this really plays out. Joining us on the broadcast, I'm open this question and this entire political hustle-bustle to our guest as well, Mr. PKD Nambiar, who's a political analyst, and Mr. George Kurian, who's a political strategist. Both are joining us on the broadcast. Good afternoon to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. George, I'm coming to you first. If the choice is between Mallikarjun Kharge versus Shashi Throor, is this really new direction and new blood that the Congress party is looking at? Or perhaps it's the old product in a new box?
Well, we have to appreciate.
George, we're not able to hear you. I think there's a problem with your line. We'll just try and fix that. And meanwhile, let me go to Mr. PKD Nambiar. Mr. Nambiar, would you want to answer that question? How critical is this change in leadership? The choices right now, largely speaking, seem to be between Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge and Mr. Shashi Throor. Mr. Nambiar.
Well, anybody whomsoever is following the politics in the last couple of months or couple of days at least will understand there is nothing called as really an election is happening in Congress. One, the people, Congress has made a joke out of their election process. The AICC president, which is supposed to be the head of the institution, head of the party, looks like a more of like again, it's not an election, a selection, but looks like a dummy president. The leadership is not changing. Only maybe a dummy president is going to come. The way things have, such a large party which ruled this country for 55 years is not even able to get a natural candidates on its own. finally, where are we landing it up? In India's population, 65% of the population of India is less than 35 years of age. And Congress, as a party going for a change, is looking for somebody who is 80 plus as an age as the president. That clearly says that the Congress is in a self-destruction mode. And if this continues to go, I think it is not in the interest of the country.
But Mr. Nambiar, that criticism will hold true for any political party in this country. I know that the likes of BJP have a cut-off date and a retirement age, after which, it's the Margdarshak Mandal in which most of the leaders shift to. But age and politicians who are much older than the average age of this country is a factor which is not peculiar to the Congress party. Many things may be, but this is not.
I'm absolutely in agreement with you. There are many other political parties do have this challenge, but my reference to this is coming from with regard to the Congress is that they have been looking for a change.
Yeah.
And this change they are not been looking from today, from the last 2014. It's almost 8 years. And number of Chindan Shibir had happened, and there was so much of hue and cry that there will be a new avatar is going to come.
Yeah.
That avatar is going to uplift the Congress, and this Congress with the new avatar is going to rule the country.
No, that point I agree with you, George. I want to bring that point to you, Mr. Kurian. The fact that this was supposed to be a new direction, winds of change, a non-Gandhi phase that needed to come in. This is no doubt and question on the credibility and the political acumen of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, who's a very seasoned politician and who has proven his mettle time and again. But that being said, with his age, experience, is he the right candidate, and would he inspire the kind of trust in new direction that the Congress party really wanted to take? Mr. Kurian.
Anushka, certainly yes. Mallikarjun Kharge as well as Shashi Throor, both are contenders as of right now for the Congress presidential elections. I have full confidence, and the entire Congress workers as well as the entire team put their faith and hope in both the candidates. And I'm sure the kind of experience both of them carry, Dr. Tharoor could be relatively new in politics, but he also has a lot of administrative experience to his credit. Whereas Mr. Kharge is a consecutive 9-time winner of elections and currently a Rajya Sabha leader of opposition. So he also carries, and both have been ministers in the past, Mallikarjun Kharge being the railway minister and labor and employment, Dr. Tharoor, carrying out external affairs ministry and human resource development.
Mr. Kurian, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but the point that I'm trying to understand from you is something very different. The criticism which is coming in is, and I must reiterate that this is in a constructive tone and tenor, in the sense that the Congress party, the principal opposition party in this country, needs a change at the institutional level, at an ideological level, to brace up to the challenge of the BJP, which is their principal political opponent in this country, if they want to have any kind of chance in the big battle of the 2024 general elections. Mr. Kharge, does he bring that new energy, that new aura, or perhaps that new push that the party needs to fight these elections? Can he bring those things on the table? That's the question.
Well, let me correct you there, Anusha. You don't need to narrow down on Mr. Kharge to be very specific here. Both are contenders at this point in time.
Yes.
Both are capable. Both have the ability to take it forward.
The reason I talk about Mr. Kharge, the reason I talk about Mr. Kharge, Mr. Kurian, the reason I talk about Mr. Kharge is that he seems to be one of the candidates who has the support of most of the leaders. One of the most probable faces we are talking about.
You cannot come to that conclusion at this point in time.
Okay.
There is no data that you have so that you can come to that conclusion. What I'm trying to put here is that Congress is looking for a transformational change, and in the time to come, it is going to happen. There are a lot of transformational reforms that needs to carry out with the way Congress functions, and I'm hopeful this change is about to come, and we are looking forward to fight the communal forces. And I don't agree to Mr. Nambiar while he says that it's a remote control operator, and there is no dearth of talent in Congress party as far as leadership and administrative qualities are concerned.
Well, I agree with that there is no dearth of talent within the Congress party, but what they've been able to do with it is the key question. I want to toss it to my colleague and our political editor, Marius Shakil, who gets you this special conversation.
And joining me now is the man of the moment, Shashi Throor. Dr. Tharoor, thank you so much for your time. You have formally entered the contest for the Congress president. Let me ask you a direct question. What is making you contest because you, along with Manish Tiwari, Karti Chidambaram, have been all demanding transparency in this entire election process. I've been reading your tweets and you have been raising some questions regarding this contest. Let me ask this question to you. Why are you contesting elections for the Congress president?
Well, I think that though the party presidential election is an internal exercise, it also represents an opportunity to ignite widespread public interest in the Congress and to galvanize our party workers at the same time. So, to my mind, we just can't continue with business as usual. We've been kind of stuck at the ceiling of 19% of the vote in 2 successive elections. We need to try something different, constitute a fresh appeal to the public, to those who drifted away from us in the last 2 elections, and bring them back to us. And to my mind, Shri Rahul Gandhi was right when he said that a democratic contest will only strengthen the party. And I do have some ideas to reform and re-energize the party. I'm planning to give a manifesto to my voters once I've submitted, I've just submitted the form, so I will be doing so shortly, in which I will recommend that we need to do certain things to re-energize the party after our recent setbacks. Decentralizing authority is a key part of it within the party, increasing consultative mechanisms at all levels, and giving our karyakartas more access to the leadership that affects their daily professional lives. So all of this is something we will absolutely have to do. And as far as why I'm contesting, and if you believe strongly enough in something, you've got to be prepared to stick your neck out for it. And that's the approach that's guided me, frankly, in both personal and political life. So I think it's worth doing, and I certainly hope that this contest will benefit the party. Digvijay Singh came to see me on Thursday when he decided to contest as well. And we embraced each other as friends and brothers in the party, and we said that this is not going to be a battle between rivals, it's going to be a friendly contest between colleagues to capture the affections or the votes of our own colleagues, of our own party workers. That's what this is all about.
Yes, Dr. Tharoor, you've made that point that the Congress has reached that point. Right now, it is at 19%. From 49.1% votes in 1984 Lok Sabha polls to 19.7% in the last Lok Sabha elections. Now that you're contesting, and you said that you will be presenting a manifesto with your ideas to the voters in this electoral college, what are 3 to 4 big ideas that you will present? And let me ask you and rephrase it perhaps, what do you think went wrong with the party?
Look, Mari, I've literally not had a chance to yet get the message out to my own voters. This is a manifesto directed at them. It's about what the voters, who are the workers of the party, want to see. So it would not be fair for me to go public before I've gone private, as before I've gone to them, sent them something directly. I'm sure it'll eventually become public. These things do. But I've broadly given you a clue. It's about decentralizing and empowering our party workers at the lower levels, but it's much more detailed than that. I have about 10 points I'll be putting out. And I hope that in the process we will find a responsive echo from our party.
Okay, let me rephrase it and ask it differently, hoping that you'll respond. What will be Shashi Tharoor's roadmap for the revival of the Congress party?
So, first of all, we have to strengthen our own party, and that includes massive work on the grassroots levels. One of the things I've been impressed by the party in my own state is the ethos of politics as social work between elections. So we're not just a party that comes to life every 5 years to fight elections. In between, our party workers are there with the people and helping them in all sorts of mundane ways. I mean, an old lady doesn't know how to fill in a ration card application or a EPL certificate form, a party worker helps. Somebody else's house is broken into by a gunda, but the local cops won't note the complaint because the gunda is connected to the ruling party. So the party worker goes and finds out, calls me as the MP who's not part of the ruling party and says, hey, will you talk to the commissioner or somebody high up and get them to come and investigate this. All these are things that have actually happened I'm talking about. That kind of thing where every time in between elections, the party is present in the daily lives of ordinary people, that kind of politics the Congress used to be very good at, and in many parts of the country we're not doing. I'd like to see more of that happening. I think certainly we need to turn then back to the people and mount a robust fight against the evident deficiencies of the BJP's economic governance, the rank unemployment, the issues that in fact we've been raising in Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, of unemployment, of high inflation, of faltering economic growth, all of these things also need to be brought once again front and square. We can't just sit back and let the BJP have a free ride. And then as far as the other aspects are concerned, we've seen disastrous decisions by the government that have actually affected the daily lives of people. Demonetization was one example of it. But day after day, we're hearing great speeches and very poor implementation. We need to constantly point this out. We need to convert Parliament into a truly meaningful debating forum where we challenge the government on issue after issue using the parliamentary rules, not by disruption but by debate. And I think we should also take the government on in public, on the streets, when the issues so warrant, and we should do more of that as well. I think the Yatra has proven that there's tremendous appeal when the Congress party hits the ground walking.
And Dr. Tharoor, the spotlight on this Bharat Jodo Yatra is on the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and the face of this Yatra is Rahul Gandhi. Then anybody who becomes the Congress president, what role he will really play? The reason why I'm asking this is because for the longest time, it is believed that Congress party cannot exist without the Gandhis at the helm. How will you break that image?
I certainly hope that the Gandhis will remain inextricably attached to the party, because I think our DNA as a party and theirs as a family is completely tied together. I hope the Gandhis will not be sort of expecting to disappear overnight. First of all, they may well have earned a rest, but it'll be foolish of the party to let go of the incredible advantages that they have brought to the Congress party. Their ethos as a family, as individuals, their undoubted political charisma, their appeal to the public, which is again on display during the Yatra. All of these things are assets for the party. And I think that they will continue, I hope very much, to be involved in the party, but very much in cooperation with the new president, whoever he or she may be. Secondly, I think that if they wanted to continue running the party, they wouldn't have held an election. They would just have managed, if Rahul Gandhi had simply withdrawn his letter to the working committee, he'd have been president again anytime 2019 onwards. So I think it's very clear that they're genuinely anxious to step back. And so rather than implying that there's going to be some sort of remote control operating there, I think we should just hope that they will do more than they say they are going to do, to be involved in a party that certainly needs their wonderful image to work with us.
And given the latest fiasco that happened in Rajasthan and Mr. Ashok Gehlot opting out of the race for the president, one concern certainly is of the legitimacy and the authority that the Congress president will really have when you can't really decide the chief minister of a state.
No, first of all, I think the legitimacy comes from the process of election. There is no party in India which has had such an open and public election to elect its president. And if the Congress does that, it seems to me that the Congress is setting an example, throwing the sunlight of inner party democracy on our own work, that others should actually applaud and learn from. I think it will be very healthy if all other parties follow our example. So on that one, the legitimacy of the president should not be doubted once that president has been elected. On the question of Ashok Gehlot, who is a dear friend and a respected senior colleague of our party, all I can say is that if you're contesting an election, you're prepared to take on whoever comes down the road. If it was Mr. Gehlot, if it's Mr. Digvijay Singh today, if it's somebody else tomorrow, we'll just have to face it. And I think that's fine, because this is not a battle between rivals. It's a very friendly contest between colleagues, and that spirit that we're entering all of this. And as far as I'm concerned, it's welcome that the Congress president, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi, have all said to both Digvijay Sahab and me that the Nehru Gandhi family welcomes these elections. They'd like to see a diverse field of candidates contesting, and they're neither directly nor indirectly backing any one candidate. I think that's great. And we should go ahead in that spirit and see what comes out of the result.
I know you have a busy day ahead, so I'm going to ask my last question to you, Dr. Tharoor. How do you think a non-Hindi speaker president will fit in a role of a national party of a country where over 43% people speak Hindi?
देखिए, अगर हमारे में राजनीति करने की जरूरत है तो आपको हिंदी बोलना ही पड़ेगा. तो नॉन हिंदी स्पीकर को बहुत बहुत बड़े कठिनाई होंगे. फिर भी हमारे देश, हमारी राजनीति में आपको पता है कि कभी कभी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण नेताओं भी थे जो हिंदी पब्लिकली नहीं बोलते थे। आपको नाम पता है, मैं नाम नहीं इस्तेमाल करना चाहता हूं, लेकिन मैं उनमें से एक नहीं हूं। मैं तो हिंदी बोलता हूं और मैं तो हर रोज संसद से निकाल के साउंड बाइट देता हूं हिंदी चैनलों पे, इसलिए मेरे ख्याल में आपके दर्शकों को अच्छी तरह पता है कि मैं हिंदी बोल सकता हूं।
All right, Dr. Shashi Throor, I wish you luck. Thank you so much for your time. That was the man of the moment, Shashi Throor, who is all set to contest the upcoming elections for the Congress president. Now the focus shifts on 8th of October. Will there be pressure on him to withdraw his candidature? Because it's amply clear now that it is Mallikarjun Kharge who has the endorsement of the Gandhis. And given the list of proposals that he has managed, it's very clear that he has support of the Gandhis as well. That's all from me. Anusha joins you next.
And keeping with the latest developments coming in, the race for the Congress top job, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot proposes Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge's name as the Congress chief. And on the expected lines, here's a reaction coming in from Mr. Ashok Gehlot.
खड़गे साहब जो है अनुभव भी है, 10-11 बार लगातार चुनाव जीतते हैं, राज्य का अनुभव भी है, राष्ट्रीय स्तर का अनुभव भी है, और मैं समझता हूँ कि सही उन्होंने निर्णय किया खड़े होने का। और मैं चाहूँगा जो हाईकमान मुझे कहेगी, जो जिम्मेदारी देगी वो मैं निभाऊंगा, जिम्मेदारी देकर निभाऊंगा। ये बात मैं 10 दिन पहले कह चुका हूँ आप लोगों को, और मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ, देशवासी कहते हैं कि कांग्रेस मजबूत होना बहुत आवश्यक है। उसके लिए राहुल गांधी निकल पड़ा है, चाहे वो महंगाई हो, चाहे वो आपका बेरोजगारी हो, चाहे देश में एकता हो, शांति हो, सद्भाव हो, प्यार मोहब्बत हो, नफरत नहीं हो, इस मुद्दे को लेकर वो निकल पड़ा है और मैं उनके साथ हूँ।
बहुत लोगों ने कहा कि आपने इस्तीफे की पेशकश की, आपने इस्तीफे की पेशकश की।
Well, that was the word coming in from Mr. Ashok Gehlot. My colleague Yash is live from Mr. Kharge's residence. Yash, some time ago we were talking about the fact that how Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge seems to have the backing of the top leaders of the Congress party, Mr. Ashok Gehlot being one of them.
Well, yes, in fact, Ashok Gehlot's presence at Mallikarjun Kharge's residence very much confirms this thing only, and he has said on record that he is going to be the proposer for Mallikarjun Kharge. Right now, there are many leaders who are present inside the very residence.
Those are the live visuals coming in. Mr. Shashi Throor going to file his nomination papers. He'd also tweeted out the details. He was just in conversation with my colleague Maria Shakil, where he bare it all. And he said that there are various changes that he wants the Congress party to have at an institutional level, on the ground level, across various state units. And as a Congress loyalist, as a Congress party worker, he will go ahead and file his nomination papers. Those are the live visuals on your screen. Would he be under some kind of pressure to withdraw his nomination papers? We'll have to wait and see. So far, it seems like a friendly contest between Mallikarjun Kharge, who seems to have the backing of the Gandhi family and the top leaders of the Congress party, and Mr. Shashi Throor, who of course is a Congress loyalist, a well-known leader. But to what extent this is going to be a real fight doesn't seem like so. So far, Yash continues to be with us live from the Congress party's, one of the key residents of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. He's been reporting from there. Yash, you were talking about the fact that how Mr. Ashok Gehlot had met Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. Shashi Throor has also thrown his hat in the ring, and a contest seems to be all likely between Mr. Tharoor and Mr. Kharge.
Well, yes, this is now definite that this is going to be a two-way battle with the major two contenders in this very battle of the Congress presidency, Mr. Shashi Throor and Mallikarjun Kharge. But the Congress party is though maintaining this line that this is a friendly match. This is not a battle between two leaders, though we have seen in the past how things turn ugly in Rajasthan when it came to Mr. Ashok Gehlot coming to the center and getting to the top post of the Congress party. But now also he continues to maintain that the party is together, and what they are doing right now is they are trying to ment out a leader who will be suited for the Congress party in the larger run. a leader who could actually keep together the Congress party, be it in the North India or South India. So they are actually looking towards a pan-India leader who can keep the party together. Mallikarjun Kharge is one such name. Another name is Shashi Throor. Shashi Throor. There were some reservations about Shashi Throor being the Congress president, that he's obviously not a leader. There were some things going on that he's not a leader of the masses, but he actually spoke moments from now to our political editor Mare Shakil, and he actually very much said that, and in Hindi only, that a politician who needs to work in India needs to understand and speak Hindi well. So this is the line which they are drawing, that be it Mallikarjun Kharge, be it Shashi Throor, these leaders are projected to be the pan-India leaders, and right now Shashi Throor is all set to
Yash Goyal getting us all the details from the residence of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. I want to cut across to our senior editor Pallavi Ghosh as well. Pallavi, this is the contest which is all set here, largely speaking Mr. Shashi Throor versus Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. What should we expect from here on? Is Mr. Tharoor under some kind of implicit pressure to withdraw his nomination, or he'll go the full length? He'll fight the elections?
Well, as of now, he has every intention of filing his nomination. The time which he had given to AICC was 12:15, but you can see it's already 12:30. This is also happens to be a time when we are being told Mallikarjun Kharge is going to file his nomination. Meanwhile, lots of activities you can see inside the AICC, leaders pouring in, the cadre also pouring in. Obviously, it's going to be a show of strength. But I think, Anusha, just to answer your question, here's the way the Congress party works. No one is going to say anything, but anyone who's not going to be voting for the so-called official candidate, or he seems to be standing up against the official candidate, at some level may always be considered to be either a pariah or may be criticized for that. Shashi Throor, to go back in history and his politics as well, he's not always been considered to be very popular as far as the grassroots of the Congress party is concerned, a kind of an outsider even by the Kerala unit. I'm still getting to those pictures even as we speak, Anusha. So we are going to be seeing the big ticket leaders, all of them pouring in. Mukul Vasnik, for example, over here a short while back. I think in a convoluted way there is going to be a pressure on Shashi Throor to withdraw at some point of time. If you look at the kind of arrangements which are being made for the nomination of Mallikarjun Kharge, those nominations clearly have not been made for Shashi Throor. For Mallikarjun Kharge, proposals have come in, the party machinery has been geared up. There you're getting those pictures even as I'm standing right over here at the AICC headquarters. The nomination process, of course, begins in a short while from now. Just to get some more clarity about the pictures which are coming out from the AICC headquarters, we saw Ashok Gehlot also being one of the proposers, and then a car moves towards the office, the election office of the Congress party. That's where Mallikarjun Kharge also is expected to go and cast his nomination papers as well, and of course Shashi Throor.
Pallavi, there's an interesting term you use, which is the official candidate. If these were elections, quote unquote, in any sense, does the term official candidate really behove of an electoral process? Then it seems like a selection of some kind. Would you agree?
Well, I'm just giving a quick update on this, Anusha. It is Ashok Gehlot who has entered the AICC headquarters, and he is, of course, going to be one of the proposers or endorsers. And there you can see those clear pictures. He's standing out and stepping out of his car right outside the election office of the Congress party and making the point that all is well, that I'm backing the person who the Gandhis are backing. And that, I think, is the main point which is being played out over here. Anytime now, we are being told Mallikarjun Kharge is going to be coming in here to file his nomination. Officially, he is the official face of the Congress party or the candidate of the Congress.
He is the official candidate. Those are the live visuals coming in from the AICC office where the process of filing the nomination papers is underway. On the left-hand side of your screen, those are the visuals of Mr. Shashi Throor praying to the God before he files that nomination papers. We also got you that exclusive conversation with Mr. Tharoor where he very categorically says that he is going to go ahead. He will fight the elections. He's a Congress worker, a Congress loyalist, and he has a lot of ideas which can help the party in the coming few days. I'm going back to Pallavi, who's getting us all the political halchal from the AICC office. We also have to cut across live to the Prime Minister, who's addressing right now.
वहां से अहमदाबाद मेट्रो की सवारी करते हुए मैं थलतेज पहुंचा। यानी कोई बाहर से वंदे भारत के जरिए आ रहा हो तो उसके बाद सीधे सीधे मेट्रो पर चढ़कर शहर में अपने घर जा सकता है या काम के लिए शहर के दूसरे हिस्से में जा सकता है। और गति इतनी तेज कि जो शेड्यूल कार्यक्रम बनाया था उससे 20 मिनट पहले मैं थलतेज पहुंच गया। मैं आज ट्रेन में सफर कर रहा था। डिपार्टमेंट के लोग कई खूबियां बताते रहते हैं, एडवर्टाइजमेंट भी करते रहते हैं, कितनी स्पीड है, क्या व्यवस्था है, सब। लेकिन एक और पहलू जो शायद डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ का ध्यान नहीं गया है, मुझे वो अच्छा लगा, मैं बताना चाहता। ये जो वंदे भारत ट्रेन है, मैं कोई गणितज्ञ नहीं हूं, वैज्ञानिक नहीं हूं, लेकिन मोटा मोटा मैं अंदाज लगा सकता हूं कि हवाई जहाज में यात्रा करते समय अंदर जितनी आवाज आती है, वंदे भारत ट्रेन में वो आवाज शायद 100वें हिस्से की हो जाती है। यानी 100 गुना ज्यादा आवाज विमान में होती है। विमान में अगर बातचीत करनी है तो काफी दिक्कत रहती है। मैं वंदे भारत ट्रेन में देख रहा था, आराम से मैं लोगों से बातचीत कर रहा था क्योंकि कोई आवाज ही नहीं थी बाकी। इसका मतलब जो लोग हवाई जहाज के आदी हैं, उनको अगर ये आवाज के विषय में ज्ञान हो जाएगा, मैं पक्का मानता हूं वो हवाई जहाज नहीं, वंदे भारत ट्रेन पसंद करेंगे। અને મારા અમદાવાદીઓ, મારે આજે અમદાવાદને 100 સલામ કરવી છે। નવરાત્રીનો તહેવાર હોય, રાત આખી દાંડિયા ચાલતા હોય, આપણું શહેર કે આપણું ગુજરાત ઊંઘતું જ ના હોય, એવા નવરાત્રીના દિવસોમાં આ ધૂમ ધકતી ગરમીની વચ્ચે આટલો મોટો વિરાટ જનસાગર મેં પહેલી વાર જોયો છે ભાઈ। હું અહીંયા જ મોટો થયો, आवड़ो मोटो कार्यक्रम अमदावाद करी बतायो होय, ये मारो आ पहलो अनुभव छे। अने एटला माटे अमदावादीओने मारा 100 सलाम। अने एनो अर्थ ए थयो कि अमदावादीओने मेट्रो शुं छे एनी बराबर समजण छे। मैं एक बार हमारा अर्बन डेवलपमेंटना मंत्रीओ जोड़े बात करी थी। मैं कहूं भाई तमे मेट्रो में आखा देश में करवी जोईए, आपणी जवाबदारी छे, पण तमने अमदावादीओ सौथी वधारे रिटर्न आपशे। मने के केवी रीते? मैं कहूं साहेब अमारा अमदावादी छे ने हिसाब लगावे, तो ऑटो रिक्शा में जाऊं तो केटला पैसा थाय, केटलो टाइम जाए, કેટલી ગરમી ખાવી પડે, આને મેટ્રોમાં જવું તો આટલો તરત એ મેટ્રોમાં આવી જાય। સૌથી વધારે આર્થિક રીતે લાભ કરે એ અમદાવાદનો પેસેન્જર કરે। એટલે તમારા અમદાવાદમાં એક જમાનામાં હું અમદાવાદનો ઓટો રિક્ષા વાલો કરીને ગીત ગાતા હતા। હવે મેટ્રો વાળો એમ કરીને ગીત ગાશે. मैं सचमुच में आज अहमदाबाद को जितनी बधाई दूं, जितनी सलाम करूं, उतनी कम है दोस्तों. आज अहमदाबाद ने मेरा दिल जीत लिया है. भाई और बहनों, 21वीं सदी के भारत को देश के शहरों से नई गति मिलने वाली है. हमें बदलते हुए समय और बदलती हुई जरूरतों के साथ अपने शहरों को भी निरंतर आधुनिक बनाना जरूरी है. शहर में ट्रांसपोर्ट का सिस्टम आधुनिक हो, सीमलेस कनेक्टिविटी हो, यातायात का एक साधन दूसरे को सपोर्ट करे, ये किया जाना बहुत आवश्यक है. और जो गुजरात में मोदी की पर बारीकी नजर रखने वाले लोग हैं, वो वैसे एक अच्छी जमात है और एक तेज जमात भी है. उनको ध्यान होगा, जब मैं यहां मुख्यमंत्री था, मुझे साल तो याद नहीं है, बहुत वर्षों पहले हमने अहमदाबाद में मल्टी मॉडल ट्रांसपोर्टेशन को लेकर के ग्लोबल समिट किया था. यानी उस समय भी मेरे दिमाग में चलता था, लेकिन कुछ विषय भारत सरकार के होने के कारण मैं तब नहीं कर पाया. अब आपने मुझे वहां भेजा तो मैंने अब ये कर दिया. लेकिन ये सोच आज साकार होती हुई देखता हूं. और इसी सोच के साथ बीते 8 वर्षों में शहरों के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर इतना बड़ा निवेश किया जा रहा है. 8 वर्षों में एक के बाद एक देश के 2 दर्जन से ज्यादा शहरों में मेट्रो या तो शुरू हो चुकी है या फिर तेजी से काम चल रहा है. देश के दर्जनों छोटे शहरों को एयर कनेक्टिविटी से जोड़ा गया है. उड़ान योजना छोटे शहरों में हवाई सुविधा देने में भूमिका निभा रही है. हमारे जो रेलवे स्टेशन हुआ करते थे, उनकी क्या स्थिति थी ये आप भली भांति जानते हैं. आज गांधीनगर रेलवे स्टेशन दुनिया के किसी भी एयरपोर्ट से कम नहीं है. और 2 दिन पहले भारत सरकार ने अहमदाबाद रेलवे स्टेशन को भी आधुनिक बनाने की स्वीकृति दे दी है. साथियों, देश के शहरों के विकास पर इतना अधिक फोकस, इतना बड़ा निवेश इसलिए किया जा रहा है क्योंकि ये शहर आने वाले 25 साल में विकसित भारत के निर्माण को सुनिश्चित करने वाले हैं. यही अहमदाबाद, सूरत, बड़ौदा, भोपाल, इंदौर, जयपुर, यही सब हिंदुस्तान के 25 साल के भाग्य को गढ़ने वाले हैं. ये निवेश सिर्फ कनेक्टिविटी तक सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि दर्जनों शहरों में स्मार्ट सुविधाएं बन रही हैं, मूल सुविधाओं को सुधारा जा रहा है, मुख्य शहर के आसपास के इलाकों, सबब्स को विकसित किया जा रहा है. ट्विन सिटी का विकास कैसे होता है, गांधीनगर, अहमदाबाद इसका उत्तम उदाहरण है. आने वाले समय में गुजरात में अनेक ट्विन सिटी के विकास का आधार तैयार हो रहा है। अब तक हम सिर्फ न्यूयॉर्क न्यू जर्सी ट्विन सिटी सुनते रहते थे। मेरा हिंदुस्तान पीछे नहीं रह सकता। और आप अपनी आंखों के सामने देख सकते हैं अहमदाबाद गांधीनगर का विकास, ट्विन सिटी का वो मॉडल। उसी प्रकार से हमारे नजदीक में आनंद नडियाद, उधर भरूच अंकलेश्वर, वलसाड़ और वापी, सूरत और नवसारी, वडोदरा हालोल कालोल, मोरबी वांकानेर और महसाना कड़ी, ऐसे बहुत सारे ट्विन सिटी गुजरात की पहचान को और सशक्त करने वाले हैं। पुराने शहरों में सुधार और उनके विस्तार पर फोकस के साथ साथ ऐसे नए शहरों का निर्माण भी किया जा रहा है जो ग्लोबल बिजनेस डिमांड के अनुसार तैयार हो रहे हैं। गिफ्ट सिटी भी इस प्रकार के प्लग एंड प्ले सुविधाओं वाले शहरों का बहुत उत्तम उदाहरण है। साथियों, मुझे याद है जब मैंने गिफ्ट सिटी की बात शायद 2005-6 में कही थी, और उस समय जो मेरा विजन था उसका एक वीडियो प्रेजेंटेशन किया, तो बहुत लोगों को लगता था यार ये क्या बातें करते हैं, कुछ हमारे देश में हो सकता है ऐसा। मैंने उस समय लिखा हुआ पढ़ा भी है और सुना भी है। आज गिफ्ट सिटी आपके आंखों के सामने खड़ा हो चुका है और देखते ही देखते हजारों लोगों को रोजगार देने वाला केंद्र बन रहा है। साथियों, एक समय था जब अहमदाबाद में ट्रांसपोर्ट का मतलब क्या, આપણે ત્યાં અમદાવાદમાં ટ્રાન્સપોર્ટ એટલે લાલ બસ, લાલ દરવાજા, લાલ બસ અને હરીફરીને રિક્ષાવાળો। साथियों, जब मुझे गुजरात ने अपनी सेवा का अवसर दिया तो मेरा सौभाग्य रहा कि हम यहां बीआरटी कॉरिडोर पर काम कर पाए। ये भी देश में पहला था। मुझे तो बीआरटी बस की पहली यात्रा का साक्षी बनने का सौभाग्य भी मिला था। और मुझे याद है लोग विदेश से आते थे तो अपने परिवार को कहते थे कि इस बार जब गुजरात जाएंगे तो जरा बीआरटी में ट्रैवल करना है, बहुत पढ़ा है, बहुत सुना है। साथियों, तब भी कोशिश यही थी कि सामान्य नागरिक, सामान्य जन, उनकी सुविधा कैसे बढ़े, उनके लिए सीमलेस कनेक्टिविटी का लाभ कैसे मिले। और लोकतंत्र और शासन का यह काम होता है कि सामान्य नागरिक की आवश्यकताओं के अनुसार और देश को नई ऊंचाइयों पर ले जाने के संकल्प के साथ विकास की यात्रा को इन दो पटरी पर चलाना होता है। आज उसी सपने को भव्य रूप से हम सच होते देख रहे हैं। मैं इस अवसर पर हृदय से आप सभी लोगों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। साथियों, आज अहमदाबाद मेट्रो के लगभग 32 किलोमीटर सेक्शन पर यात्रा शुरू हुई है। और ये आपको सुनकर के आश्चर्य होगा, भारत में मेट्रो की शुरुआत हुई तब से अब तक में ये पहली बार ऐसा रिकॉर्ड बना है कि एक ही साथ 32 किलोमीटर करीब करीब उसकी यात्रा का लोकार्पण हुआ है। इसकी और एक विशेषता रही है, रेलवे लाइन के ऊपर से मेट्रो ट्रैक के निर्माण की मुश्किल चुनौतियों के बावजूद ये काम तेजी से पूरा हुआ। इससे मेट्रो के लिए अतिरिक्त जमीन की जरूरत भी नहीं पड़ी। आज मेट्रो के पहले फेज का लोकार्पण हुआ है, वहीं फेज 2 में गांधीनगर को कनेक्ट किया जा रहा है। भाइयों और बहनों, अहमदाबाद और मुंबई के बीच शुरू हुई वंदे भारत ट्रेन से देश के दो बड़े शहरों के बीच सफर को आरामदायक भी बनाएंगी और दूरी को भी कम करेगी। सामान्य एक्सप्रेस ट्रेन अहमदाबाद से मुंबई पहुंचने में करीब करीब 7, साढ़े 7, 8, साढ़े 8 घंटे लगा देती है। कभी कभी उससे भी ज्यादा समय लगता है। शताब्दी ट्रेन भी कभी 6, साढ़े 6, 7, साढ़े 7 घंटे तक समय ले लेती है। लेकिन वंदे भारत ट्रेन अब ज्यादा से ज्यादा 5.5 घंटे में ही अहमदाबाद से मुंबई पहुंचा देगी। धीरे धीरे इसमें और सुधार होने वाला है। और आज जब मैं वंदे भारत ट्रेन को बनाने वाले चेन्नई में बन रही थी, उसके बनाने वाले सारे इंजीनियर, वायरमैन, फिटर, इलेक्ट्रिशियन, इन सब से मिला और मैंने उनको पूछा, बोले साहब आप हमें काम दीजिए, हम इससे भी अच्छा बनाएंगे, इससे भी तेज बनाएंगे और जल्दी से बनाएंगे। मेरे देश के इंजीनियर्स, टेक्नीशियंस, इनका ये आत्मविश्वास, उनका ये भरोसा मुझे इस बात पर विश्वास से कहने के लिए प्रेरित करता है कि देश इससे भी तेज गति से बढ़ने वाला है। यही नहीं, बाकी ट्रेनों की तुलना में इसमें ज्यादा यात्री सफर कर पाएंगे। मैं एक बार काशी से स्टेशन पे पूछ रहा था, मैंने कहा भाई वंदे भारत ट्रेन का क्या एक्सपीरियंस है? बोले सबसे ज्यादा टिकट वंदे भारत की जा रही है। मैंने कहा वो तो कैसे संभव है? बोले साहब गरीब लोग इसमें जाना पसंद करते हैं, मजदूर लोग जाना पसंद करते हैं। मैंने कहा क्यों? बोले साहब उनकी दो लॉजिक है। एक, लगेज काफी अंदर जगह है ले जाने के लिए, और दूसरा, इतना जल्दी पहुंच जाते हैं कि जाकर के काम करते हैं तो उतने घंटे टिकट का जो पैसा है वो भी निकल जाता है। ये वंदे भारत की ताकत है। साथियों, आज इस अवसर पर मैं आप लोगों को यह भी बताना चाहता हूं कि डबल इंजन की सरकार का लाभ कैसे अहमदाबाद प्रोजेक्ट को मिला। जब बोटाद रेल लाइन का ओवरहेड स्पेस मेट्रो प्रोजेक्ट के लिए इस्तेमाल करने की बात आई तो केंद्र सरकार ने तुरंत इसकी मंजूरी दे दी। इससे वासना ओल्ड हाईकोर्ट रूट की मेट्रो का काम तुरंत ही शुरू होना संभव हो सका। अहमदाबाद मेट्रो पर जब मेट्रो पर काम करना हमने शुरू किया तो रूट ऐसा प्लान किया गया जिससे गरीब से गरीब को भी लाभ हो। ये ध्यान रखा गया कि जहां पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत है, जहां सांकरी सड़कें पार करने में बहुत ज्यादा समय लगता हो, वहां से मेट्रो गुजरे। अहमदाबाद मल्टी मॉडल कनेक्टिविटी का हब बने, इसका पूरा ध्यान रखा गया। कालूपुर में आज मल्टी मॉडल हब बनाया जा रहा है। यहां बीआरटी स्टेशन के सामने ही और ग्राउंड फ्लोर में सिटी बसें खड़ी होगी। टैक्सी और प्राइवेट कार के लिए अपर फ्लोर में सुविधा रहेगी। सरसपुर एंट्री की तरफ नया मेट्रो स्टेशन है और हाई स्पीड रेल स्टेशनों को भी ड्रॉप और पिकअप पार्किंग जैसी सुविधाओं से जोड़ा जा रहा है। कालूपुर रोड ओवरब्रिज को सरसपुर रोड ओवरब्रिज से जोड़ने के लिए स्टेशन के सामने 13 लेन की रोड बनाई जाएगी। कालूपुर के अलावा साबरमती बुलेट ट्रेन स्टेशन को भी मल्टी मॉडल ट्रांसपोर्ट हब के रूप में विकसित किया जा रहा है। साथियों, शहर के हमारे गरीब, हमारे मध्यम वर्गीय परिवार, मिडिल क्लास के साथियों को धुएं वाली बसों से मुक्ति मिले, इसके लिए इलेक्ट्रिक बसों के निर्माण और संचालन के लिए भारत सरकार ने फेम योजना बनाई है। फेम योजना शुरू की है ताकि पर्यावरण की भी रक्षा हो, लोगों को आवाज से भी मुक्ति मिले, धुएं से भी मुक्ति मिले और गति तेज मिले। इस योजना के तहत अभी तक देश में 7,000 से अधिक इलेक्ट्रिक बसों को स्वीकृति दी जा चुकी है। इन बसों पर केंद्र सरकार लगभग 3,500 करोड़ रुपए खर्च कर रही है। गुजरात के लिए भी अभी तक 850 इलेक्ट्रिक बसें स्वीकृत हो चुकी हैं, जिनमें से अनेक बसें आज यहां सड़कों पर उतर भी चुकी है। भाइयों और बहनों, लंबे समय तक हमारे यहां शहरों को जाम से मुक्त करने, हमारी ट्रेनों की गति बढ़ाने के लिए गंभीर प्रयास नहीं हुए। लेकिन आज का भारत स्पीड को, गति को जरूरी मानता है, तेज विकास की गारंटी मानता है। गति को लेकर ये आग्रह आज गति शक्ति नेशनल मास्टर प्लान में भी दिखता है, नेशनल लॉजिस्टिक पॉलिसी में भी दिखता है और हमारे रेलवे की गति को बढ़ाने के अभियान में भी स्पष्ट होता है। आज देश का रेल नेटवर्क आज मेड इन इंडिया वंदे भारत ट्रेन को चलाने के लिए तेजी से तैयार हो रहा है। 180 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटा तक की रफ्तार पकड़ने वाली ये ट्रेनें भारतीय रेलवे की दशा भी बदलेंगे, दिशा भी बदलेंगे, ये मेरा पूरा विश्वास है। अगले साल अगस्त महीने तक 75 वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस ट्रेनें चलाने के लक्ष्य को हम तेजी से काम कर रहे हैं। भारत की वंदे भारत ट्रेन की खूबी ये है कि ये मात्र 52 सेकंड में, 52 सेकंड में 100 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की गति पकड़ लेती है। अभी जब चीता आया ना, तो ज्यादातर मीडिया में इसकी चर्चा थी कि चीता दौड़ने की गति कितनी सेकंड में पकड़ लेता है। हम 52 सेकंड में ये ट्रेन, साथियों, आज देश के रेल नेटवर्क का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा मानव रहित फाटकों से मुक्त हो चुका। ईस्टर्न और वेस्टर्न कॉरिडोर, डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर जब तैयार हो जाएगा तो मालगाड़ी की स्पीड भी बढ़ेगी और पैसेंजर ट्रेनों में होने वाली देरी भी कम होगी। और साथियों, जब मालगाड़ियों की स्पीड बढ़ेगी तो गुजरात के जो बंदर हैं ना, पोर्ट्स हैं हमारे, वो इससे कई गुना ज्यादा तेजी से काम करना शुरू करें। हिंदुस्तान दुनिया भर में पहुंचने लग जाएगा।
Those are the live visuals that we are bringing to you. Staying with the political drama of the Congress presidential poll. There you have it. Shashi Throor is at the AICC office to file his nomination for the Congress presidential polls. As you can see, he's been flanked by other party workers of the Congress party at the AICC. How many members of the G23 will be backing Shashi Throor is going to be an interesting point to watch out for. Who will be proposing Shashi Throor is also something that we'll be bringing to you in just a bit. But there you have it, Shashi Throor filing his nomination for the Congress presidential poll. As we know that by 3 p.m. the filing of the nominations, the process will be over. As we all know that after Digvijay Singh bowed out, it is Mallikarjun Kharge who has now thrown his hat in the ring. For now, the spotlight, as we can see, is on Shashi Throor. He is the man of the moment, filing his nomination at the AICC headquarters. Let's also give you a quick brief of what could be advantage for Shashi Throor. As we all know, he's the man who wants to decentralize power.
Just a while ago, he was in conversation in an exclusive interview with our political editor Mara Shakil, where he made some very valid observations. This is what Shashi Throor had to say, that he cannot let BJP have a free ride. Let's also get in a sense of perspective, and for that I'm joined in by our political editor Pallavi Ghosh, who's also tracking all the movements as far as the Congress presidential drama is concerned. She's been tracking it very closely. Pallavi, give us a sense of, there's been a lot of talk about who is going to be proposing Kharge's name, but there's little known in terms of who will be proposing Shashi Throor. What are you learning from your sources?
Well, Salman Soz is certainly one of the persons who's proposing and endorsing his name. In fact, he tweeted out and gave the reasons why he thinks Shashi Throor is a good candidate. And Salman Soz is Saifuddin Soz's son also, and also very active in Kashmir politics. We are seeing those pictures which are being played out as far as the nomination of Shashi Throor. What he may not be getting by way of support coming in from the mainstream Congress party. We certainly saw all that fanfare with which Shashi Throor walked into AICC, drums, his own paraphernalia, and he's certainly making a very show of the fact that he's contesting the elections. Whether he's going to stay put till the end or whether he's going to withdraw his nomination, I think he's also trying to make the point which Sonia Gandhi has been making, just about anybody can contest the elections. It's about democracy, and it's not a question only of winning or losing. Interesting tidbits also on the aside. He's been a G23 member, but we saw G23 2 members like Manish Tiwari and Anand Sharma, who just drove in at the AICC headquarters. Presumably they are going to be endorsing the nominator for the so-called official candidate of the Congress party, which is Mallikarjun Kharge.
Pallavi, I'm going to request you to stay with us. Let's quickly go across to Nikhil Lakhwani as well. Nikhil, if you could take us through what is being promised by Shashi Throor in his manifesto. I know he's been very clear about releasing that manifesto soon after he files for his nomination. But what can we expect in terms of changes that he promises to bring to the party? Because he's spoken about decentralizing power. He's spoken about bringing that voter back to the Congress party, the same voter who was lost to the BJP back in the years 2014 and 2019.
So Akansha, how Shashi Throor is going to revive the grand old party, this is something which needs to be seen as to what pointers are exactly on his list of agendas. This is something which we are expecting as well, but currently these are the visuals, live visuals in fact, which are being played out on CNN News 18, where both the contenders, KM Tripathi as well, who hails from the Congress party from the state of Jharkhand, and Shashi Throor as well, who is a member of parliament, eminent personality, and he comes all the way from the state of Kerala, where the Bharat Jodo Yatra actually started. Both the leaders have now reached out at the press room, which is situated at 24 Akbar Road in All India Congress Committee. So these are the live visuals where both the leaders have reached out to file their official nomination papers. But now we need to see as to how many more contenders are likely to file their nomination paper. We already know that Digvijay Singh, who is the former Congress, who is in fact the former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh and the convener of Bharat Jodo Yatra, he has already opted out given the name of the Mallikarjun Kharge in place. So we are also expecting that post 1 p.m. Mallikarjun Kharge, he is also going to file his nomination paper. This is the reason why Digvijay Singh has already opted out. So the battle for the Congress presidential election is interestingly going to take place between both the leaders. Who are the leaders? Particularly between Mallikarjun Kharge, who is the leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha from the Congress party, and also then on the other side we have Shashi Throor, who is the eminent personality. He has been at various posts as well. He is currently a member of parliament from the one of the seat in Kerala. So these are the live visuals. Both the leaders have reached out at the AICC office. This is the particular room, Akansha, which has been set up especially for filing of the nomination paper, and the key person for the same, Madhusudan Mistry, he is in fact sitting there on the bench along with other members of the election committee, including Lovely Singh, and there are other leaders as well of the Congress party. So as of now, we can see chaos as well. In fact, many of the supporters of these leaders, they have also reached out at the All India Congress Committee office. Also, outside the AICC office, outside this particular room, there are many of the workers who have come here from different parts of the country to the national capital Delhi to support their leader, whosoever is going to participate in the nomination filing ceremony. And remember, Akansha, we have been told that the official schedule for the entire election is already out. So 8th of October is going to be last date for the official withdrawal of the names. And 1st of October, that means tomorrow, the scrutiny of all the names is going to take place. So these are two important dates. On 1st of October tomorrow, all the members of the committee, they are going to cross-check and verify all the data, all the papers, all the files which have been submitted by the possible contenders. And last day of the withdrawal of the nomination, that is 8th of October, it has been given. If some name, if any of the leader, any of the possible contender wishes to opt out from the entire presidential election, that means if he or she feels that there is the other person who is the possible contender, who has all the support, who has the backing of the Gandhis, who is the consensus candidate, then the other person in that case will definitely think to opt out. But one person where the speculations were already rife since morning, Digvijay Singh, he has already backed out. He has clearly said to his workers as well that, see, we need to show trust and faith towards the high command. And he also directed okay, so Shashi Throor is now leaving after filing his nomination. We can see a lot of chaos currently happening. All the people have actually, in fact surrounded him. There is a lot of chaos at the AICC office. These are the visuals, fresh visuals as well, we were showing you. And okay, so this is the committee members. I would urge my camera person to one by one pan into those visuals. These are the leaders, in fact, of the Congress party who have sat here to collect the nomination filing papers. And in the center we can see in the green kurta, Madhusudan Mistry is sitting here. He is going to check all the papers, and then there are other leaders as well of the Congress party. And this is the special room which has been set up in the AICC office. Now we are expecting in a few minutes from now Mallikarjun Kharge, who is the leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, to come here and file his official nomination of the paper. But remember, Pawan Bansal also collected few of the papers, so we need to see who the proposers are going to be. A short while back, the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Mr. Ashok Gehlot as well, he is currently present at the AICC office, and we have been told that Ashok Gehlot, Digvijay Singh and Manish Tiwari and other few leaders as well, they are going to back either of the candidate for the presidential polls. Back to you,
Nikhil, since you're talking about the proposers, could you just take us through, since you are at the place, at the hub of all the action, and that is the AICC headquarters. As I was also speaking to Pallavi about this earlier, there's information trickling in terms of the proposers for Mallikarjun Kharge, but there's little known about the proposers for Shashi Throor. If you could quickly take us through who have been the proposers for Shashi Throor.
Well, who have been the proposers of the Shashi Throor, we have not been able to tell you yet. Pallavi Ghosh will better be able to tell that the same, because a while back when he was filing his nomination paper, not big of the leader, not prominent leaders were seen here. So there could be some of the leaders behind him, but so far we have not been able to get you the precise name as to who were the proposers for the backing up of the candidate.
All right, we'll wait for that information, Nikhil. But in terms of, this entire presidential poll, let's also talk about the daily twists to the drama. First, it was Shashi Throor versus Ashok Gehlot, and then of course there was Kamal Nath, and we've seen twists and turns on a daily basis. There was, as we all know, Gehlot bowed out, and so did Digvijay Singh. There's Mallikarjun Kharge, who's the latest entrant and seems like a stronger contender than Shashi Throor. But having said that, in defense of Shashi Throor, he's been one candidate who's remained steady throughout and very confident, especially for someone who's a non-Hindi speaker.
Well, clearly, and this also comes as a challenge for the eminent leader Shashi Throor as to how he is going to deal, particularly for those states which are of the Hindi belt, which are of the Hindi-speaking people, which are of the states where the Hindi influence is more. And we already know that the Bharat Jodo Yatra is currently underway. It started all the way from the state of Kerala as well, and many of the leaders, in fact, particularly from the Bharatiya Janata Party as well, they have been saying that what you are doing exactly in the state of Kerala when the actual fight is here in the Hindi heartland. So this comes as a challenge as well for Shashi Throor, but he has his own ways of dealing with everything. But on the other side, there is this Mallikarjun Kharge, as we have been telling you earlier as well, that he is the LOP, and there are many of the points which backs him for the presidential post for the Congress party. He is close to 80 years. He has all the experience for the organizational experience or the electoral experience as well. He is close to the Gandhi family. He is loyalist to the Gandhi family. He has already said that he is not interested in becoming the chief minister of the state from where he actually hails. So many of the pointers are going to be in favor of him as far as the fight for the election polls, for the presidential election polls.
Nikhil, I'm going to request you to stay with us because Pallavi is also very patiently awaiting her turn, and she's joining us with the latest now. Pallavi, Shashi Tharoor's nomination is finally over.
नॉमिनेशन फाइल करने जा रहा हूं, फाइल करके फिर बाद में बात करूंगा।
सर कितने आश्वस्त हैं सर कितने आश्वस्त हैं सर आराम से एक बार बोल दिया सर
So there you have it, Mallikarjun Kharge announcing that he is all set to file his nomination, and that that bite that's been taken by the reporters has been while on his way to the AICC headquarters. Let's quickly go across to Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi, what's the latest? In how much time should we expect Mallikarjun Kharge to arrive, or has he already arrived at the AICC headquarters, or was he just exiting his residence?
Over here, just to get you a sense of what the AICC headquarters scenario is all about. We just saw Shashi Throor leaving a short while back from here, and we also heard what Mallikarjun Kharge had to say that he's leaving for AICC. All arrangements are in place. My video journalist Rajesh is also getting us those pictures. Right. You see over there, that's the room which is considered the election office. That's where all the nomination papers are collected from. And just to pan across to that particular room which you see over there is where usually press conferences are held, but that is where the nominations are being filed. Without saying it, the Congress party pretty much shows Mallikarjun Kharge as to be the official candidate. I think any time now we can expect him to be here. The Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot is already over here. He's going to be one of those who are going to endorse the candidature of Kharge. We've already seen Mukul Vasnik also over here. Interestingly, two members of G23, Manish Tiwari and Anand Sharma, who held a meeting late last night to decide whether they are going to put up their own candidate, they are also over here. So it's pretty much clear that even they will be supporting what is being emerging as a consensus candidate, and that's Mallikarjun Kharge anytime now. Consistently Sonia Gandhi has made the point that she is not favouring anyone. She is neutral. But over the last few days, the incidents which have panned out from Rajasthan, the Rajasthan crisis, just goes on to show that neutrality is just a kind of a smoke screen. That's not really happened. The silent messaging which has gone across to 9,000 delegates, the arrangements which are taking place over here at the AICC headquarters, just goes on to show that Mallikarjun Kharge is very much the chosen man, and he is the one who's definitely going to be having the support of all the top Congress leaders as well as of the Gandhis.
Absolutely, Pallavi. There's a lot to talk about, but I'm going to request you to stay with us because we also have a reaction coming in from senior Congress leader and G23 member Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Let's also listen into his reaction.
खाड़गे जी द्वारा कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष के नामांकन पद के लिए उन द्वारा किए गए इस निर्णय का स्वागत करता हूं। माइक नीचे रखो ना। वो नामांकन भरेंगे और हम विश्वास और उम्मीद करते हैं कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष के रूप में चयनित होंगे। उनका एक लंबा अनुभव रहा है। पिछले कई दशकों में अलग अलग सदनों के माध्यम से उन्होंने देश के लोगों की आवाज़ उठाई है। स्वयं मुझे जब वो हमारे दल के नेता थे लोकसभा में, तो एक सचेतक के रूप में, कांग्रेस पार्टी के विप के रूप में काम करने का उनके साथ अवसर मिला। अब राज्यसभा में वो हमारे नेता विपक्ष हैं, तब उनके साथ काम करने का अवसर मिला। हरियाणा से हुड्डा साहब भी उनके एक प्रस्तावक हैं और मैंने भी बतौर प्रस्तावक उनके नामांकन पत्र पे हस्ताक्षर करने का मुझे गौरव प्राप्त हुआ है। मुझे विश्वास है उनके कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष के पद पे चयनित होने के बाद उनके अनुभव का और उनके व्यक्तित्व का एक संतुलित व्यक्तित्व है, उनके सबके अच्छे संबंध हैं सबके साथ, उनके संतुलित व्यक्तित्व का और उनके अनुभव का लाभ कांग्रेस पार्टी को मिलेगा। मैं भी एक बतौर
All right, so that was Bhupinder Singh Hooda's son, Dipinder Singh Hooda, also sharing his views. Let's quickly go back to Pallavi. Pallavi, we know that there was a very crucial party meet at Anand Sharma's residence last night, and this was of the G23. With a substantial support going over to Mallikarjun Kharge by some very prominent members of the G23. Should we view this as disintegration of that united front which we were seeing of the G23 some days ago?
But I'm just giving a quick update. I'm getting on those pictures which we were also putting out a short while back. Mallikarjun Kharge enters the AICC headquarters. Sitting in his car was Digvijay Singh. There was Dipinder Hooda who was in the car. He's now entering the room of Mukul Vasnik, who's going to be one of those persons who is going to be filing those nomination papers also for him.
Right.
So it's very clearly a show of strength which is taking place over here. I'm just remaining with those pictures from the AICC headquarters.
Absolutely, we can see all those visuals coming in. We just saw Digvijay Singh enter one of the rooms. All right, so Pallavi, as you were taking us through those halls, are they now going to take those nomination papers and then move to that big hall for filing? All right. We'll try and reconnect with Pallavi in just a bit, but as you can see, that is where the filing process is taking place. This big hall, as Pallavi was pointing out, is the hall where press conferences also take place. This is the AICC headquarters at Akbar Road in the national capital, and this is where the filing procedure is going to be taking place. It was just some minutes ago that Shashi Throor filed his nomination, and just in a few minutes from now, you will be seeing Mallikarjun Kharge also filing for his nomination. And as Pallavi was pointing out, there is a silent messaging over here, while the Gandhis claim that this has been a very democratic process, that this has been a fair process. It almost seems like a smokescreen, because as Pallavi was also pointing out, we all know that Mallikarjun Kharge has the backing of the Gandhis. Speaking of which, Pallavi, talking of the backing of the Gandhis to Mallikarjun Kharge has always been a devout loyalist of the Gandhis as well. He's also someone who's endorsed how Rahul Gandhi's return to the helm of affairs in the Congress party is equally crucial. Do you think that this will is this fair to call it a balanced process at the end of the day?
Well, I think the first choice was certainly Ashok Gehlot,
right.
But there's a sense of hurt when he was advised by Mrs. Gandhi not to become the party president and also not to file in his nomination papers. In that sense, many would of course say that Mallikarjun Kharge is a second choice, but he has a complete support of the Gandhis, not just of Sonia Gandhi, but he also has a very good working equation with the Gandhi siblings, that's Rahul Gandhi as well as Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Now, all of the boxes which go in his favor, one, he's of course from the south, he's after P.V. Narasimha Rao, he's going to be the first Congress president from South. Second, he's a Dalit, though he's always tried to play down that card. But that's also a very important factor as far as the Congress's Dalit politics goes. Third, of course, as of now, he's the LOP of the Rajya Sabha, and he's pretty aggressive. You know, he speaks both in Hindi and English. So many who would wonder whether he can speak in Hindi, whether he makes sense in our politics, which is largely controlled by the Hindi heartland. I think the choice of Kharge is this. But, you know, beyond all these political mathematics, the only factor which I get really works in his favor is the fact of the trust factor, which went in his favor, the trust deficit, which went against Ashok Gehlot. Gehlot, and thereby stands Mallikarjun Kharge candidature. And we were getting those pictures. I mean, we saw a huge crowd over here when Shashi Throor came, but that crowd was largely the ones which were also brought in by Shashi Throor. Over here, it seems that the party machinery has gone into focus, from getting the party karyakartas to over here.
Right.
And also just look at the people who were sitting in the car with Mallikarjun Kharge. Digvijay Singh, there was Dipendra Hooda. Again, that's very interesting, I would say, because Dipendra Hooda represents someone which is the young guard or the generation next of the Congress party. So I think the messaging which was also going across is that Kharge is going to breach that generation gap, acceptability to all. Also interestingly, before I come back to you, is the presence of Manish Tiwari and Anand Sharma,
Right.
the so-called G23 members. Speculation till this morning that they could put up a candidate. Clearly, they're going by what they call the official choice of the Gandhis at the Congress party.
And speaking of the G23, as I was asking you earlier, we know of this crucial party meet that happened yesterday. I'm sure a lot was discussed and conscious efforts were made to arrive upon this conclusion to back Mallikarjun Kharge. Having said that, let's not forget that Shashi Throor has been an active participant in the G23. He was somebody who was receiving strong backing from the G23 till some days ago. What explains this disintegration within the G23?
From the G23 left, and one of the most big ticket architects of G23 was certainly Ghulam Nabi Azad, and he quit the party to form his own party, Democratic Azad Party. That's one thing. And the G23 often has been speaking in different voices. I mean, for example, Mukul Wasnik, he too was a part of the G23, but today he's being seen on the so-called right side, the side of the Gandhis. He's also going to be one of those persons who's going to endorse the candidature of Mallikarjun Kharge. So in that sense, the G23 seems to be kind of falling apart, and I would say the Gandhis and her loyalists would see this as a vindication of their stand. When you talk about Shashi Throor being a part of G23, even if he hadn't been a part of the G23, there would always have been a kind of a trust deficit.
Right.
He's often taken a stand which is a little different from the party, and which has often made the Congress party very, very uncomfortable. So that's as far as the trust factor goes.
All right, Pallavi, request you to stay with us and perhaps get us some more inputs as and when they trickle in. Let's also quickly take a check from Nikhil, who's inside the location right now where the filing process is on. Nikhil, what's the status right now? In how much time should we expect Mallikarjun Kharge to arrive now?
Kansha, in any minute from Mallikarjun Kharge, he will be first seen on the frame for News 18. And all the eyes are now waiting for him. In fact, he has already arrived. The road he's sitting inside in one of the near Mukul Wasnik's chambers. So from now he's seen of him. You can see all the eyes are now waiting for particular space for those people, those countries.
Let's quickly go across to Pallavi as Nikhil tries to fix his audio issue right now. So Pallavi, in some time from now, we should be expecting Mallikarjun Kharge staying with, the battle between Shashi Throor and Mallikarjun Kharge. As you were also pointing out that, Shashi Throor has, often stuck his neck out. He's not really echoed the popular sentiment within the G23 and within the sentiments of the senior leaders. As far as that is concerned, do you think that he's also been viewed as a dissident figure, and that is something that has worked against him?
Well, he's always been seen certainly as an unlikely congressman. I mean, from his comments like cattle class, from his recent comments where he, for example, wanted to attend a seminar organized by the CPIM government in Kerala, and he was asked not to do so. Often speaking out of turn, often his tweets. The party has often distanced itself from Shashi Throor. In that sense, many would criticize him as being an unlikely congressman. Certainly a person who has a mind of his own, a personality of his own, and very, very erudite, savvy, connect with the younger younger generation, extremely popular on the social media. But somehow when we would see Rahul Gandhi repeatedly going to Kerala, Shashi Throor would not often be seen by his side, except of course the Bharat Jodo Yatra. That's as far as the importance of Shashi Throor goes. But beyond that, I mean, I repeatedly make the point. Yes, they say officially on record that everyone has a right to contest the elections. But I think the underlying factor in all of this is the issue of trust. The trust deficit, which was seen in Ashok Gehlot, the same amount which they saw as far as Shashi Throor is concerned. Because if it hadn't been so, the arrangements which you are seeing over here, the crowd you are seeing over here at the AICC headquarters for Mallikarjun Kharge, where he's officially going to file in his nomination papers in a short while back, I think this endorses and plays out the fact that Kharge seems to have become the official choice, mainly because he's got the trust of the Gandhis. They don't feel threatened, they don't think he's going to go rogue, and he's of course going to put the party before self. I think that was the most important factor. In the case of Ashok Gehlot, they were very upset about the fact that when it push came to shove, he wanted to be both the president as well as the chief minister.
I'm going to request you to stay with us. Digvijay Singh is addressing the press right now. Let's quickly listen in.
Right. We've seen three names in 3 days. Ashok Gehlot, I mean, yes, that's what the line has been. But, I have a very good relation with Shashi Throor ji as well. And, whoever wins, I think it will benefit the Congress.
Last question, how do you see this decision? How do you see the decision of your father? Not as a leader, as a son.
I think in both ways. So you see, since I've known my father since I was born, and throughout my life, he is a die-hard congressman. Whatever our family is today is because of the blessings of Congress party, of the people of Madhya Pradesh, of my hometown Raghugarh, and of the Nehru Gandhi family, because they have given us the opportunity that we have got. From him being an MLA in 77, to a minister in 1980, to a member of parliament in 84, PCC president, chief minister in 93 for 10 years, and after that as a AIC general secretary, and then as a member of parliament. It is all something which has been given by the Congress party for him, and even in the future, we will work day in, day out for the Congress party and for the country.
All right, let's quickly go back to Pallavi. Pallavi, we just heard what Jayawardhan Singh, son of Digvijay Singh and Congress MLA, had to say. This indeed is becoming a very crucial battle, but as you said, it's very clear that Mallikarjun Kharge has an advantage over Shashi Throor. Having said that, and when we talk about that advantage, we also know that if he is hypothetically also, if he is appointed as the Congress president, he will have to now step down from the position of being the leader of the opposition. And that means that he will now be paving for a new position as well.
So there is a possibility, and the name which is doing the rounds is that of Digvijay Singh, who can possibly take over as the leader of the House in Rajya Sabha. The choice of Kharge and the choice of any leader of the House is also someone who has good equations or who can connect with other political parties, especially in the opposition spectrum. Because we see, at least in Rajya Sabha, the opposition does seem to have an upper hand, though the BJP and the NDA is, of course, certainly catching up. Again, language becomes an important criteria. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, for example, has often gone into trouble because he's not been very comfortable with Hindi. Kharge certainly has been. His stature, his seniority, these very important factors in the August House, that's Rajya Sabha, the House of Elders, when you choose a leader of the opposition, a leader of the party. So as of now, what we are being told is Digvijay Singh is likely to be the leader of the party in Rajya Sabha. So that's one important key point which comes out. But naturally, one man, one post, Kharge is unlikely to be both the party president as well as the LOP, though nothing stops him from being so. But because that one man, one post resolution has been passed, I think the Congress kind of want to stick to that. But the Congress, Mr. Kharge, when he becomes a party president, is taking it up in many challenging times. The party is in a state of disarray. It's in par completely on its own, only in 2 states, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. In Rajasthan, things are not looking very good. And of course, and look at the irony of it all. Kharge plus Ajay Makar were the 2 observers who actually went to Jaipur. And one of the first messages which Rajasthan he may have to deal with if Sonia Gandhi doesn't bring a solution to that problem is actually going to be that of Rajasthan. So he understands his connections, his seniority is something which can go to his advantage. And just before I come back to you, the biggest challenges for Mallikarjun Kharge, of course, is to get the Congress together, to win elections. The first two big elections which are going to come up as soon as he takes charge is that of Gujarat and Himachal. If the Congress party needs to do well, if it doesn't do well, again, those are the challenges he faces. The drums are beating, so I think in a short while from now we can expect an official kind of a nomination also taking place.
I think that should be taking place in just a few minutes from now. And before we quickly cut to those visuals, let's also go across to our guest, Mr. Sumansi Raman, who's a political analyst and joining me live on this newscast. Many thanks to you, Mr. Raman, for sparing your precious time. We heard what Pallavi has to say. She shared some very precious insights with us. Of course, it seems like there is advantage Mallikarjun Kharge as far as his nomination is concerned. What do you think is actually working in terms of his strengths right now? What do you see that has worked in his favor?
I think it's clearly the fact that he is seen as one of the last of the few loyalists of the Gandhi family left.
Right.
And he is clearly being seen as a proxy for the Gandhi family to continue to run the affairs of the party. I don't think we have seen all the twists and turns in this drama yet, because there is still time until the 8th. What if Shashi Throor decides to pull out at the last minute? Then the entire issue of this entire election, the farce that it has now become, would be exposed before the country. So I think that the Congress party has made a hash of this election process, and by the Gandhi family, by sort of anointing or giving their blessings to candidates. Remember, Kharge was not even in the picture till yesterday morning, till 2 days ago, when Ashok Gehlot's tried to pull the rug up from under the Gandhi family feet in Rajasthan, or tried to pull a fast one.
All right,
Mr.
Sumant, I'm going to
request
request you to stay with us. Let's also listen into some inputs that Pallavi is just bringing us right now. Let's quickly cut across.
You want that there shouldn't be cooperation in the party? Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji has led the party for so many years. Rahul ji is our leader. All of us have to work with them, with their guidance, and I think there's nothing wrong with that.
But the president has to be supreme. It isn't the last word then with the president. I mean, this is exactly what the BJP says.
Obviously, and Rahul ji has also said, the party president will work according to the constitution. So there's nothing wrong in that. But the senior leaders, you have to take guidance from senior leaders.
So you mean to say, Shailaja ji, that the Gandhis will continue to have the grip over the party, and theirs is also going to be an important word?
I think these are absolutely wrong words to be used when you're talking about a political party. There are senior leaders, there are people, there's somebody who the whole country looks up to, the party looks up to, and I think that it is a good thing that they are there to give guidance to everybody, to the party, and they have done that. And I think in future also, people look up to them, and the Congress president, Kharge ji, will be elected. In fact, my appeal is that he should be elected unanimously.
Okay, you want Mr. Tharoor to be withdrawing from the contest?
I think it would be in the fitness of things. Okay.
Would you still want Rahul Gandhi, for example, at some point of time to become the party president?
Yeah, future is, see, look at the way he's working, and that the future will tell. And but today, as of now, I think the Mr. Kharge ji, having come to this point, and all of us are very happy that he will be there with his sagacity, with his experience. It will surely benefit.
And I want to ask you one last question before I let you go. Do you think Mr. Ashok Gehlot has lost the trust of the party, the top leadership and the Gandhis?
I think whatever happened yesterday, it was all there, and he met the Congress president, Sonia ji, and whatever has happened is there. There's no such things. I don't think these kind of labels are there that someone has lost trust or not. There are some things, there are developments which happen, political developments which happen in the party, and this is just part of it.
Thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18. That's an important.
All right, so that was Pallavi Ghosh speaking with Kumari Shailja of the Congress Party. In the meantime, let's quickly also bring you an exclusive interview that our political editor Mara Shakil did with Mr. Shashi Throor just before he filed his nomination. Let's listen.
Let me ask this question to you. Why are you contesting elections for the Congress president?
I think that though the party presidential election is an internal exercise, it also represents an opportunity to ignite widespread public interest in the Congress and to galvanize our party workers at the same time. So to my mind, we just can't continue with business as usual. We've been kind of stuck at the ceiling of 19% of the vote in 2 successive elections. We need to try something different, constitute a fresh appeal to the public, to those who drifted away from us in the last 2 elections, and bring them back to us. And I do have some ideas to reform and re-energize the party. I'm planning to give a manifesto to my voters once I've submitted, I've just submitted the form, so I will be doing so shortly, in which I will recommend that we need to do certain things to re-energize the party after our recent setbacks. Decentralizing authority is a key part of it within the party.
What will be Shashi Tharoor's roadmap for the revival of the Congress party?
So, first of all, we have to strengthen our own party, and that includes massive work on the grassroots levels. So we're not just a party that comes to life every 5 years to fight elections. In between, our party workers are there with the people and helping them in all sorts of mundane ways. I mean, an old lady doesn't know how to fill in a ration card application or a EPL certificate form. A party worker helps. Certainly, we need to turn then back to the people and mount a robust fight against the evident deficiencies of the BJP's economic governance, the rank unemployment, the issues that in fact we've been raising in Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, of unemployment, of high inflation, of faltering economic growth. All of these things also need to be brought once again front and square.
The spotlight on this Bharat Jodo Yatra is on the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and the face of this yatra is Rahul Gandhi. Then anybody who becomes the Congress president, what role he will really play?
It will be foolish of the party to let go of the incredible advantages that they have brought to the Congress party, their ethos as a family, as individuals. If they wanted to continue running the party, they wouldn't have held an election. They would just have managed. If Rahul Gandhi had simply withdrawn his letter to the working committee, he'd have been president again anytime 2019 onwards. There is no party in India which has had such an open and public election to elect its president. And if the Congress does that, it seems to me that the Congress is setting an example. On the question of Ashok Gehlot, who's a dear friend and a respected senior colleague of our party, all I can say is that if you're contesting an election, you're prepared to take on whoever comes down the road.
How do you think a non-Hindi speaker president will fit in a role of a national party of a country where over 43% people speak Hindi?
देखिए, अगर हमारे राजनीति करने की जरूरत है तो आपको हिंदी बोलना ही पड़ेगा. तो नॉन हिंदी स्पीकर को बहुत बड़े कठिनाई होंगे. फिर भी हमारे देश, हमारी राजनीति में आपको पता है कि कभी-कभी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण नेता भी थे जो हिंदी publicly नहीं बोलते थे.
We have some breaking inputs coming in soon after his nomination. Shashi Throor has tweeted, and this is what he has to say, that it is a privilege to serve the only party in India with an open democratic process to choose its leader. Appreciate Sonia Ji's guidance and vision. Congress fully democratic. This is what Shashi Tharoor's reaction has been post-nomination. Let's quickly go across to Pallavi Ghosh, who continues to stay with us. Pallavi, I'll say the tone is rather ironical right now, considering we were just discussing how Kharge's backing by the Gandhis has made it amply clear how democratic this entire process is. All right, we'll try and bring in Pallavi as quickly as possible, but that is what... All right, Pallavi is back with us. Pallavi, I was just saying that Shashi Tharoor's tweet almost comes across as ironical, considering the backing given to Mallikarjun Kharge by the Gandhis only goes on to prove how democratic this entire process is.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely bang on. I mean, I don't know if you heard when Kumari Shelja was speaking to us a short while back, and I kept on asking her this question. So, you know, she kept on making this whole point about the Gandhis are always going to be around. They are going to be the leaders. Though Mr. Kharge is going to be the president, the Gandhis also matter. And in fact, at one point, she also goes on to say that Rahul Gandhi at some point of time should become the Congress president. I suspect that's exactly what is going to be happening. They began pretty well, I would say, when the whole election procedure was announced. announced by maintaining this whole garb of being neutral. But as the process went on, it just went on to show and exposed that at the end of the day, you need to have the backing of the Gandhis. I mean, I'm just standing here at the AICC headquarters, Viha, and the crowd around me, the management, the paraphernalia which has been put into place for the nomination of Mallikarjun Kharge is absolutely in stark contrast to one which was put out for, say, a KN Tripathi who filed, also say Shashi Throor. Clearly, the party is backing Mallikarjun Kharge. How can then that be called a neutral election? It's very clear the message which goes out to all the 9,000 delegates who are going to be casting their vote that he's our man and do vote for him. Which is why if Mr. Tharoor carries on and does not withdraw his candidature, and he certainly doesn't seem to be one who would want to do so, it's very clear that Mr. Kharge would win with an overwhelming majority. In fact, when I spoke to Kumari Shelja a short while back, she also went to an extent of saying that in the fitness of things, the right thing for Mr. Tharoor would be to actually withdraw from the contest.
Absolutely. I also heard vouch for, how a unanimous filing of nomination will happen for Kharge. In the meantime, let's also listen in to a reaction coming in from Rajiv Shukla. All right, we'll try and bring in more reactions, but in the meantime, these are the latest visuals we are bringing to you from the AICC headquarters over there at Akbar Road. Many of the leaders present there. Just a while ago, we saw Shashi Throor file his nomination. Let's also listen.
हर सदन में उन्होंने देश के लोगों की आवाज उठाई है. मुझे विश्वास है उनके अनुभव का और संतुलित व्यक्तित्व का कांग्रेस पार्टी को लाभ मिलेगा. इससे पहले जिनके नाम वापस दिए कि आपको लगता है कि खड़गे जी उन्होंने सबसे
सोनिया गांधी को चाहा, इस दफा भी चाहते थे.
बहुत ही अच्छे उम्मीदवार साबित होंगे.
All right, so we heard what Dipinder Singh Hooda had to say, and Ambika Sooni also over there very vehemently lending their support to the Gandhis. There we can see Salman Khurshid as well, a host of senior leaders now gathering in the AICC headquarters, and perhaps Manish Tiwari also over there, and that also goes on to indicate that Mallikarjun Kharge is all set to file his nomination, because remember, these are all senior Congress leaders, many of them part of the G23, now lending their support to Mallikarjun Kharge. As we were also discussing with Pallavi earlier, there were many leaders who were expected to lend their support to Shashi Throor, but there has been a twist to this tale. On the right side of your screens, we can show you Mallikarjun Kharge also surrounded by several press reporters now making his entry. The nomination process for Kharge is all set to begin.
There is going to be a contest. Mr. Kharge and Mr. Shashi Throor are there. A contest, and that's quite valid and very democratic system.
My last question is to you, sir. Mr. Kharge, Mr. Tharoor, both are from southern India.
I think we should not tend to divide India in all those lines, actually. It's the entire big organization. Sometimes you have a person as the president from one place, at another time from another place. And that's the long history of Congress, which it has actually a witness to it.
Right, so we should expect Mallikarjun Kharge to now be filing his nomination. Just